Welcome to the You Need More Money podcast. I'm your host, Matt Manero, where I come to you from my studio in Dallas, Texas. We do a boot camp here in my office on Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. We actually bring in a personal trainer, and he works us out in the parking lot. The company pays the bill, and I think we're going on 4.5 years. And so I've been doing the workouts, and man, they're tough. This guy beats us up, man. And you know who's the toughest? It's the girls in our office, man. They are tough. The girls don't miss the workouts. The fat sales guys miss the workouts, but our operations department, man, they are out there every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday working out. So good for them. Good for anybody. Get yourself moving. But it's starting to get hot here in Texas. Let me get into today's, because today's a riff. I was thinking about my friend Gene. Now, I'm really not friends with Gene. In fact, I probably haven't seen Gene for 10 years. But Gene is a 20-year salesperson with 1 year experience. Now, let me just walk you through this a little bit. Gene worked at a big, heavy truck dealer, a Freightliner truck dealer, and he was a truck salesman. And I was a young finance guy with Commercial Fleet trying to get this place off the ground. And Gene and I did deals together. But I learned something about Gene that I didn't really notice until later on in life, when maybe I was even becoming a 20-year salesperson with 1 year's experience. But although that's not really true, but I always check myself on that. But Gene didn't. Gene was a 20-year salesperson with 1 year's experience. And here's what I mean. He was a very nice man. Gene was a maniac. He used to wash his car every single morning before he would come to work and potentially go out and call on sales calls. Gene worked his route. Like, he had a route of customers, and he would make sure that he would go and see them. He was a happy husband and father. He was an overall good guy. But Gene never made more than $100,000 a year. And that wasn't bad income, but not what he could have made, because he was a 20-year sales guy with 1 year's experience. He made $100,000 his first year in our industry, and he never made any more. Because of the other 19 years of his 20-year sales career, he was the same salesperson as he was in the first year. He never evolved. He never improved. He never got better. He just sort of did the same shit over and over and over and over and over, and never really improved. You have to know people like that. Maybe you're one of those kinds of people who you're just not getting better at your craft. And how do you know? What's the scoreboard that you get better? You make more freaking money, dude. That's how it plays out. You know you're getting better when your wallet is getting fatter. So let's go through a couple things on how you make more money through the improvement. The constant element and activity of getting better, committing to training, committing to skilling up. Here's my number one tip. I got 5 tips. Who are you watching? Who are you reading? And who are you listening to? You got to pick 1 or 2 people and immerse yourself. Here's some names. As I was preparing for the podcast, I was going through some names of people that I have immersed myself in over the years. No particular order, but kind of sort of my early career to my later career. Tom Peters, Tom Hopkins, Brian Tracy, Robert Townsend. Nobody's going to know Robert Townsend. He used to be the chairman of Avis Rent-A-Car, and he wrote a book called Up the Organization, and it's a little bit of a play on words, because it makes you think maybe how you rise up the organization, but basically what he meant was he was given a finger to the organizational chart, the process, the sort of stuck-up company culture. He wanted to blow dynamite on that and just blow it up. I mean, he was an amazing thinker. This is a guy back in the 60s and 70s. He was an amazing thinker, and I listened to countless of his interviews with different people on cassette tape, by the way. Of course, Tony Robbins, Personal Power, 1991, I bought that program. Michael Gerber, E-Myth. Of course, my man Cardone, Robert Kiyosaki, Dave Ramsey. I really only have one lady on the list, and I like her most currently now. Her name is Mel Robbins. She rocks. She's the author of the 5-Second Rule, killer book. Vaynerchuk. I'm a huge fan of Joe Rogan's podcast. I just like how cool he is. I like Tim Ferriss. I think he's outrageously intellectual. I really like to follow what he's doing. I think he's way ahead of the curve. But if you notice on my list, man, there's no family members. There's no friends of family. There's no like buddy's dad. There's no coaches. I mean, no shit, man, for real. I never looked up to anybody in my real life. And I had to go find these people. So when it comes to who you watching, who you listening to, or who you reading, if you can't get it at home, you still have to get it. And you can't blame it that you're not getting it at home, man. That's all bullshit. That's head cheese. You gotta go get it on your own, just like I did. Man, the list of these people goes on and on and on and on and on. All right, let's keep going. Number 2, you got to get in the trenches, man. You got to get out of the corner office and you got to dig ditches again, just for one day. You got to go on sales calls again. You got to get in the factory. You got to go do the work that you used to do that made you know your business inside and out, and you have to do it a couple times a year, just so you get refreshed on how freaking difficult it is for people in your office to do what they do. Number 3, you got to break your routine. The routine only lasts for so long. You need to break them up. You got to fire some people, man. You got to do some shit differently. You got to change your route to work. You got to change your eating habits. Go buy a new freaking wardrobe. Change the damn routine. Number 4, do something off the wall, man. Do some crazy shit. Look, a couple years ago, we did this thing in our industry called Truck Tank. It was like Shark Tank for truckers. It took our industry by storm. It was crazy. It was freaking nuts, man. I mean, we had like traffic lines at this trade show. We had people bumping into people. You couldn't hear anybody. It was nuts. People were complaining and freaking out that we were taking up too much space, and our audio video machine, our speakers were too loud. They were getting in the way. Blow it up. Do some off the wall shit. And number 5, stay curious. Be really interested in what other people are doing. Because when you're interested in what somebody else is doing, it's a recognition that you're constantly learning. You're figuring out, how do I get better? How do I pull a nugget of knowledge from somebody else? So number 5 is stay curious. Let me go through the 5 one more time for you. Number 1, who you watching, who you reading, who you listening to, it freaking matters. Number 2, get back in the trenches. Not every day, but get back in the trenches, get out of the corner office and get back in the trenches to be reminded of the difficulty that the people that you now manage or you employ are going through. Number 3, bust up your routine. Do some different stuff. Number 4, try something zany, something off the wall. Do some epic shit, as Cardone says. And number 5, stay curious. Stay interested in what's going on in the world, in the marketplace. And that will feed you new stuff, which will force you to get better. Because getting better is the key, y'all. We do not want to be like my old friend Gene, a 20-year salesperson with 1 year's worth of experience. Hey, I'll see you on down the road.